Have you ever thought about where your clothes are coming from? Chances are most people don't know where their clothes come from, who's making them, and what happens after they are discarded. Unfortunately, the fashion industry does have a dark side that negatively affects the environment and the people working in the industry. Garment workers are severely underpaid, and the industry causes a lot of pollution. The fashion industry still operates this way because of big companies that are very money hungry and greedy. However, we can try to combat this chaos that's caused by the fashion industry by trying to shop more sustainable and trying to shop secondhand as well. There are many things that happen behind the scenes in the industry that we do not see. The workers are exploited, and the fashion industry is one of the world's largest polluters. The term fast fashion is used to describe big companies that rapidly produce very cheap clothing in order to keep up with quickening trend cycles. Some major companies that are a part of fast fashion include Zaful, Fashion Nova, and Shein. Fast fashion companies often use child labor in other countries. They use child labor because they do not want to pay, they don't have to pay them nearly as much as they would have to legally pay an adult. However, the United States has still found ways to underpay adult garment workers. Garment workers in California are only paid per garment, and they're often paid less than $1 per garment. At the end of the day, this adds up to around less than $3 per hour. Another huge issue with the fashion industry is the amount of pollution that it creates. According to an article called The Environmental Price of Fast Fashion that's accessed April 7, 2020, the industry produces 8 to 10% of global CO2 emissions, which is 4 to 5 billion tons annually. The factories not only pollute the air, but they also create major water pollution. This is caused by textile factories dumping toxic wastewater into surrounding waterways. According to blogs.iu.edu, last accessed October 9, 2021, it is estimated that 70% of lakes and rivers are contaminated by 2.5 billion gallons of wastewater produced by the textile industry. Not only does the creation of garments cause major pollution, but so does the discarding of those same garments. Most garments do end up in landfills, and even when the clothes are donated, the thrift stores that they are donated to are often overfilled, and many of those clothes don't sell, so they also take them to the landfill. Now that we know why fast fashion is so bad, we can discuss why the industry still operates like this. The main cause for exploitation of garment workers and pollution from the fashion industry is big companies like Forever 21 and Adidas that are still using sweatshops and child labor. They're still using sweatshops and child labor because of how cheap it is. Because the labor is so cheap, they can mass produce items, and when it comes time to sell them, they make a very large profit. These companies also don't care enough to make any changes to their factories to make them more environmentally friendly. To them, it just costs too much to make any of those changes. Making changes to the factories to make them more environmentally friendly also will raise the price of creating and making clothing, and companies just also don't want to pay that either. You might be asking, why do people keep buying fast fashion even though it's so inherently bad? People are still buying from fast fashion brands because it's extremely affordable and because of how fast the trend cycles are. According to an article called Fast Fashion Sustainability and the Ethical Appeal of Luxury Brands, published in Volume 16 of Fashion Theory magazine, trends run their course with lightning speed, with today's latest styles swiftly trumping yesterday's, which have already been consigned to the trash bin. This is partly due to social media accelerating every trend, and most trends only last a couple of months at most. People are buying whole new wardrobes worth of clothes because of how cheap clothing can be with fast fashion. Makes it very affordable to move from one trend to the next every few weeks. An example of this that I have is this dress that I bought from a fast fashion website. It's very cheaply made, and when I bought it, some of the seams are already coming undone. I never even wore it because it was just a trendy item that I got, and over the next couple of weeks that I had it, I didn't even like it anymore. So now I'm just going to be donating it. Now that we've talked about the cause of the problem, now we can talk about possible solutions. We can help combat fast fashion companies by trying to be more sustainable. One way to be more sustainable is to shop secondhand at thrift stores. Thrift stores have an excess of clothing for everyone to browse, and it's usually pretty affordable. Another thing we can do is to shop at companies that don't use sweatshops if you can afford it. Usually sustainable companies are a little bit more expensive, but do your research before buying from brands to make sure they are ethical. When you're shopping, try to avoid really trendy items and focus on more timeless items that fit your own personal style. This will keep items in your wardrobe for longer. Another thing to do is to stay up to date with the laws surrounding the fashion industry. In 2020, Senator Maria Elena created the Garment Workers Protection Act, which forces companies to pay their workers at least minimum wage, and it also forces them to pay them per garment as well. To learn more about the fashion industry and what you can do to help, please visit sustainyourstyle.org. There you can find information about what else you can do to shop more sustainably and to make a change. As you know now, the fashion industry has a dark side. The industry exploits its workers and causes lots of pollution, and they do this because they're very greedy. Next time you are shopping, try putting some more thought into where your clothes are coming from. Being more mindful about what you're buying is the first step to a better future.